where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong-Williams.
And welcome back to the broadcast. Larry, are you back with us?
I sure am.
Okay, good. Sharon, thank you for your patience in Georgia. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to give you a little bit of my pedigree. I grew up in the South in the projects. I was raised by a single parent. I am not only a high school graduate, I'm a college graduate. I am degreed, and I also have a license in my field. And never in my life was it conveyed to me that this is where I am and this is where I'm going to be, and I'm entitled to anything. I was always taught to work for whatever I got. And I'd like to know, what school is this that we're going to that's telling us that we're entitled and we don't need to work for anything? And do you realize how superior you must think you are to use the term surly when you address someone? And please don't stand behind the Bible when you spew this kind of language and this kind of feeling and this kind of animus, okay?
Larry, surly is surely a loaded term. Can we agree?
I'm sorry. Now, what was that?
Surly is surely. It's a bit of a tongue twister here. A loaded term. Wouldn't you agree? Like, what if I said that all white Americans had a chip on their shoulder? Many white Americans had a chip on their shoulder, and they felt that I should kowtow to them.
Well,
do you believe that I should kowtow to you?
That's just nonsense. You're putting ideas forth as if they belong to me, and that's just simply not true. You've got a straw man.
Well, I want to ask a bigger question. You know, do you believe that there's inequality in this country?
Of course.
Do you believe
probably always will be.
Right. Do you believe that white people as a race, not you personally, Mr. Pratt, but white people as a race benefited from 200-300 years of slavery, Jim Crow, disproportionately
and
benefited from the system that was in place for so many years that actually this country was built on?
It was an evil system, and the Bible
but did you benefit from it?
Sure they did.
Right. So you would agree that, like, the white suburban mom who shoplifts because she because she is not followed around the store versus the surly African American who is stereotyped as surly as soon as he walks into the store. You haven't said anything to him. You haven't welcomed him. You feel that, you know, that African American should be followed around because he is potentially surly?
No, he's potentially a thief. So he should be followed because, you know, black people steal because we make up the largest population and disproportionate population in the prisons, you know. So if the narrative is always going to be negative, then, of course, you know, it's easy for people to label us, right? So my question is, A, are we going to accept the label? What are we going to do about it? And B, can we change the mind of a person like Mr. Pratt?
Well, I don't know what it is that you're going to benefit from me not acknowledging what, in fact, is true. I don't think I said anything that is not correct. Certainly it's what I've observed. And I see that you're plenty angry, so that's...
I'm angry.
Surly.
I'm surly and angry. Surely I'm surly and angry. Okay.
Surely you are.
I'm surly and
I'm just
angry.
glad your name isn't Shirley. Because
surly, angry. Yes.
That would be really difficult to get out of the tongue.
Let me just be clear. First of all, I'm not angry. I just talk loud. It's the black people. You know, that's how black people talk. You know,
oh, I'm glad you cleared that up.
Trust me, when I'm angry, I actually don't talk much at all. But, you know, but there again, you apply labels to people that just aren't fitting. So I'm going to throw a scripture at you since you're a Christian. Proverbs 26:4 and 14. Are you familiar with that one?
Not by address.
Okay, you'll look it up after the show. But I'm going to stop talking so I can be angry.
Surely. Well, surely you can be angry.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Okay. Let's go to Mike in Virginia. Mike, you're on the air with Larry Pratt and our stellar host lineup tonight.
Hello?
Go ahead. Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Pratt. I'd just like to say one thing. You know, they've used the Bible and Christianity to conquer a lot of countries and people. My comment is, I hear you quoting a lot of scripture and stuff from the Bible saying you're a Christian. If you're a true Christian, then you know thou shalt not kill, or you may be believing in the 10th commandment. I can't quote scripture, but I believe in a higher power. But I know that one thing for sure, I believe in the 10 commandments as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Let's go to Ed in Georgia. Hello, Ed. You're on the air. Nasir. Let's go to Nasir. Hello, Nasir.
How you doing, man? I
Fine.
just want to say blessings to everybody.
Blessings, Nasir.
Yes, I wanted to make a comment. We as African Americans, blacks, we need to get past what others think of us. Just love ourselves for who we are. Forget about what people think about us, and let's do our thing, because we've been doing that too long. Don't worry about that. Let's just do us.
Well, I think doing us is not one universal monolithic thing. I mean, doing us, other than breathing, eating, and pooping, I can't name anything that we all do exactly.
We all eat watermelon and fried chicken.
Hey,
now,
but
just knock it off.
Look, the biggest purveyor of fried chicken in this country is Colonel Sanders. This looks like a white guy to me. Watermelons. You go down south on a hot summer day, you see more white people buying watermelons than anybody else. I went to school in the South in Atlanta. I'm from D.C. I don't buy into these stereotypes in the same type of way, and that's exactly what they are when it comes down to it. So, like, for instance, what if I were to say, okay, Mr. Pratt, we get in an elevator together, and I'm upset and feel that you're surly because you don't look me in my eye and smile at me. I think that oftentimes when I get in the elevator and I'm the only African American in the elevator, and say I don't have on a suit, a Brooks Brothers suit on that particular day, I may have on a North Face coat like I have on today because it's rainy and messy outside. I get looked at or not looked at completely ignored. And oftentimes, because I am who I am, I will say something to break the ice. But I also notice that amongst, in situations where it's not so obvious that I'm the black guy on the elevator, I see plenty of white people that they don't talk to each other. I had an example on Facebook earlier today where a friend of mine was at a metro station, and he witnessed a very interesting thing. He witnessed a white subway police officer approach a white lady on the platform and try to strike up a conversation with her. Hey, how you doing? And she said, F off. She told him to F off.
Wow.
Surely, that's Shirley.
Well, I agree with the policy because I share it. When I get into an elevator or any other similar environment, I like to look people in the eye and smile and let them know that somebody that's not their enemy is there.
Sure.
I think as a Christian, we should be open to trying to reach people any which way we can, and we certainly can reach a little better with a smile than a frown.
Right. Kwame
but
Kwame
you seem to
in New
feel
York.
that
go to
black
Kwame.
people don't do that and white people do that automatically? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm telling you what I do.
It's
Right.
about
But
this is
you.
not- this
in
not
your
about
comments, you said that
smiles and-
many blacks need an attitude adjustment. I mean, how do you know how many blacks smile or don't smile or tell a joke or don't tell a joke? Furthermore, suppose I've got business on my mind. Suppose I've got $1 million deal on my mind. I mean, I'm thinking about that. Wouldn't you be?
Karen,
Well,
I think we're splitting hairs, and I want to kind of address what the caller said, that we should just keep it moving, because other cultures don't keep it moving. You can't say anything out of your mouth about other cultures. There are other cultures in the society you just can't say anything about.
I'm part of one of these other cultures.
We're way more tolerant of people saying and doing things to us than we should be. And I'm tired of talking about it. I think there should be some sort of coalition and panel to study, not just study, but and put some action behind every time somebody does something like this.
I'm
But we
part of
can't
one of the other
legislate this.
cultures in our society. So I'm very familiar with what it's like to be in another culture. I'm part of it.
Well,
let's
it's
go to
interesting-
Kwame in New York. Hello, Kwame.
Hi, Mr. Armstrong. Thanks
That's
for taking
fine.
my
Thank you
call.
for calling.
I tuned in pretty late to the show, and I mean, one of the things I wanted to say, I'm originally from the continent, but I've been here for a while. I consider myself an African American, even though I'm originally from the continent. But I mean, to the question about, being, impacted by what other people think, I think there's a world of opportunity on the continent, and it's about time I think African Americans started looking to see what the opportunities are.
I think the opportunity to build and associate with people on the continent is so great that it everything else pales in comparison to that. You've got Chinese Americans forming associations in China and building great industries and nations. I think it's time we started looking out. I think it's time.
Sir, you're talking to Armstrong-Williams, who's a multimedia mogul. You're talking to Karen Hunter, who owns her own publishing company.
Yep.
I don't know what Keely and Frank and Anthony are up to, but clearly, Jay-Z. I mean, we can go down a list, not just entertainers, but Dr. Ben Carson. We can go down a list of people who obviously have taken advantage of what's going on here. The point is that narrative doesn't get spoken of enough. I think actually the majority of African Americans are taking advantage of this, and I think I take umbrage to people who come from other lands, whether it's the Caribbean or Africa, and somehow feel like they work harder or that they're doing more than black folks, and that black people are just sitting lazy, just sitting around complaining as if that's the narrative that's told about us.
Nobody said anything. We're talking about forming associations and taking advantage of opportunities on the continent.
And that's
anyone who has any sense of history knows what went on in this country.
But you're right. There's billions of dollars of opportunities on the continent. You're right.
We're talking about the opportunities that can be taken right now due to the fact that with the coming to the forefront of African Americans within the society now, and the open opportunities in Africa. There's so many networks that can be built. That's what we're talking about.
And we
get an ignorant person would say that African Americans, anybody who's gone through the history of African Americans would know that they are the best of what the continent produced.
Kwame, thank you.
Thank you, bro. Come through this fire and then still keep your sanity.
Kwame,
thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. Let's go to Jay in Texas. Hi, Jay.
Hi. I tell you, this is some kind of conversation this afternoon. I certainly appreciate it, and happy birthday to you, Armstrong.
Thank you.
Listen, I want to really, really focus in on what one of your guests said about this country. We do a really good job at covering up the poor white America.
That's right.
And for my sister,
uneducated.
And uneducated. That's correct. I mean, it's like they don't exist, really. I mean, everybody that's white, they're superior to anyone that has a darker skin color, especially Afro-Americans. But also to my sister, on your guest on the show, I get it all the time, Karen. It's just I find it amazing that when you're a woman and you're black and you're assertive, you're angry when you speak out. And if you're a woman and you're white and you're assertive, you're just a power. You're someone with power. You're in power. Yes. And I've experienced that same comment in my profession. And I work in healthcare and law enforcement, and I'm also in the uniform service. And one thing I stand up to personally, as far as the military is concerned, or uniform service, I don't care how many stars and stripes you have on you, you will not talk to me any kind of way. I will assert myself. And if you consider that I'm an angry black woman, then that is not my problem. I will assert myself. And I just have enjoyed you guys, and I appreciate this conversation because we really don't have an opportunity to speak out and have a conversation like this a lot. Also, as I'm in Texas now, but by way of the South, Louisiana, and knowing that the young man, the gentleman we're talking with, is from in his 70s, it's really, he really don't see that what he said is offensive, I don't think. And I don't know if our conversation will actually open up his eyes and change his heart. And as he wants to say he's a Christian, I pray that his heart is open and his eyes is enlightened. And that's all I have to say.
And you said it well, Jay. Thank you. How do you respond to what Jay just closed with, Larry?
I'm sorry, regarding exactly what? How did she close?
Is there anything about this conversation tonight, so thus far, that will cause you to think differently, feel differently, maybe contemplate differently, and just give you something to pause about?
Well, I thought the caller before last was actually pretty much affirming what I had said. So I'm not the only one, obviously, evidently, that sees things the way I do.
But are you looking to affirm what you said? Or are you looking to grow and really have perspective and understanding, being in the position that you're in, where you can find a higher truth? Because for me in my life, I've invested so much of my ideas and my belief system. But if someone brings me to a higher truth, and I know that's what it is, I would have abandoned whatever I've invested the last 50 years in, and I will embrace the higher truth, because it's truth that I seek, not being right.
Well, I'm certainly in agreement with that. I just haven't been persuaded yet.
Well, the last caller that you said.
Let me go to
Mike
break,
said,
Karen. Let me go to break.
Okay,
We're going to
sorry.
come back. Callers, we see you. 1-866-801-8255. This is an important discussion, and I don't have to tell you why. We'll be back.
Armstrong.